This is part two from the Lucy Letby Moment of Truth Facebook page. Again, alerted by Tracy Herford crew. Again, I'm going to give you one big yowl. Thank you. And to Tracy, and Empress sends now 2 meows for this one too. And there will be another video from her too. Boy, this woman is quite productive, and you know, so just wonderful, wonderful friend passing all this on to me. So thank you so much, Tracy. So let's read this here. This is another disgusting thing too. Environmental risk governance and irreversible loss of evidence. This building experienced early neonatal deaths during a period in which no independent, comprehensive environmental assessment of water, ventilation, drainage, or associated engineering system is identifiable. Despite the presence of multiple known factors associated with hospital-acquired infection and environmental safety. Rooftops, water storage tanks serving clinical areas were located in environments subject to seasonal heat gain. Such conditions are recognized to increase the risk of microbial proliferation and biofilm, hence that's Pseudomonas people and S. multifida, that was the baby eye situation, and also those Scottish hospitals, that's that thing. And then these including organisms such as Legionella, that's Legionella disease, Pseudomonas, and here we go, Stenotrophomonas multifida, an absence of targeted sampling beyond routine compliance testing. These organisms cannot be reasonably excluded. In 2014, the building was transitioned into a building management system as part of an energy efficiency and cost-saving program. While such systems are designed to reduce energy consumptions through automated control of heating and ventilation, no contemporaneous records are identifiable demonstrating how this transition was assessed, monitored, or validated in relation to infection prevention, ventilation hygiene, air change adequacy, or environmental safety. Following the introduction of the BMS, no clear, independently verifiable audit trail exists for ventilation hygiene, ductwork cleaning, or environmental validation for a prolonged period, despite the continued operation of legacy ventilation infrastructure. Formal HTM-aligned ventilation audit and cleaning documentation appears only much later, suggesting that assurance was either undocumented, bundled without transparency, or not undertaken to an independently auditable standard. The same building subsequently experienced infection-related incidents affecting women in labor, leading to the closure of operating theaters after environmental testing demonstrated that clinical areas were unfit for purpose. This establishes that the environmental conditions within the building were capable of compromising patient safety. Estate's documentation indicates the presence of foul drainage infrastructure and sealed or unserviceable manholes beneath neonatal care areas with limited evidence of routine inspection or remediation. The building itself was not originally designed to accommodate neonatal intensive care and had a documented history of drainage challenges dating back to the late 1960s, necessitating repeated modification, rerouting, and lowering of drainage runs in order to maintain functionality. In buildings with sealed drainage interfaces, legacy pipework, and limited venting, anaerobic conditions can arise within water, heating, and drainage system, leading to the generation of gases such as methane, hydrogen sulfide, and hydrogen. While hydrogen gas is not toxic at low concentration, its presence is a recognized indicator of poorly vented anaerobic environments, and its accumulation within enclosed voids and is an established engineering safety concern. Surges of gas ingress directly into the breathing areas of incubators is a risk factor with no data comparison, especially in the contents of energy management plans. set up automated and left without oversight, no documentation. They deny they did this, but they told us they did it. They told us in their own report. They set up an automated BMS system purchased to save money, fixed into an obsolete ventilation system. They then left it to run without oversight. Not a further penny spent. Reduced air changes at evenings and weekends. See, many of these babies I found died on the weekend or the evenings when I did my deep dives into the days and the times that this happened. This absolutely coincides with the deaths that I noticed both in the indicted and unindicted. So thank you, Tracy. You just validated me. I so appreciate it. Now, bragged about it at the time, now say it didn't happen. Suspicious? Much. In the absence of documented inspection or monitoring of sealed voids, risers, and boxed-in plant areas, the potential for gas accumulation, weather-related surges from disused manholes, gas ingress cannot be retrospectively assessed. Incubators that draw air from beneath them do not filter hydrogen gas. Neonates were never supposed to be directly above and underneath failing sewage systems. Despite these known structural and environmental limitations, the neonatal unit operated at a capacity exceeding recognized space standards, caring for up to 19 infants in a space designed for significantly fewer. This occurred during a period marked by the loss of multiple senior neonatal specialist nurse, i.e. Michelle Borden, resulting in a dilution of unit-specific expertise. Bang on. These environmental and staffing pressures coincided with system-wide cost containment measures, including a documented reduction in pharmacy expenditure in 2014, saving 200,000 pounds, and the introduction of pathways intended to reduce diagnostic imaging. Oh my God, so they're reducing radiology? And pharmacy is being cut too? Pharmacy, where we get our antibiotics? Ding dong. So while each measure may be somewhat defensible in isolation, their cumulative effect was to increase reliance on clinical judgment. Well, hello, that didn't exist. And assumed environmental safety at a time when objective standards, safeguards, and independent verification appear reduced or absent. The planned demolition of this building will permanently remove the opportunity to examine physical systems that, in other clinical contexts involving unexplained deaths, would ordinarily be assessed. These include water storage tanks and internal surfaces, ventilation ductwork, drainage interfaces, sealed manholes, and legacy heating and cooling infrastructure. In the absence of prior independent environmental assessment, demolition does not resolve uncertainty, but it renders it untestable. Once the building is removed, the ability to determine whether environmental and infrastructural factors contributed to adverse outcome is irreversibly lost. There are matters in this case that remain profoundly troubling from a clinical and professional standpoint and which cannot be dismissed as speculative or emotional. There is evidence within the Thirlwall material of medication dosing errors involving morphine at levels incompatible with safe neonatal prescribing. Oh, that was my whole thing last night. I was wondering, were they giving them the right morphine? A calculation of 100 micrograms per kilogram for a 1.7 kilogram infant does not result in a 1.7 milligram, and errors of this magnitude are not trivial. Oh my God, were they giving these babies enough morphine when they were paralyzing their diaphragms? And was it okay, I'm going to just read on before I get emotional. There are also serious concerns regarding line placement, airway management, and physiological destabilization, including scenarios in which malpositioned lines and compromised airways are known precipitants of arrhythmia and collapse. These mechanisms are well recognized in neonatal medicine and warrant scrutiny. Didn't Shu Lee say if this unit was in Canada, it'd have been shut down? And I can guarantee you in the United States, it would have been shut down, and it would have been resulted in multi-million-dollar lawsuits on, it could have been in the billions, guys. There would have been a hell of a lot of rich lawyers in America right now. The selective presentation of cases by expert witnesses without a full exploration of alternative clinical explanations of systems levels contributors raise questions about balance and completeness. The omission of medication errors and procedural complications from that narrative is particularly concerning. Patterns were present, but patterns alone do not establish causation. In this case, there are concurrent factors including environmental risk, staffing instability, departures of senior neonatal nurses, infrastructure deficiencies, and documented infection and estate issues. These are not adequately integrated into the clinical analysis presented. Neonatal medicine does not exist in isolation from the environment in which it is practiced. Clinicians have a professional responsibility to understand and challenge environmental, infrastructural, and system risks, including the arising from ventilation, water system, and estates management. Failure to do so places patients at risk. Accountability in medicine requires honesty, humility, and the willingness to revisit conclusions when credible alternative explanations exist. The continued exclusion of these factors undermines confidence in the conclusions drawn and does a disservice to patients, families, and the profession itself. What is required now is not defensiveness, not a genuine re-examination of the evidence, but a genuine re-examination of the evidence, including clinical errors, system failures, environmental risks, and courage to acknowledge where conclusions may have been reached prematurely or incompletely. It is time to fix this. If I could put this in a nutshell, Florence Nightingale is spinning in her grave. Wow. Tracy, I love you. Thank you for sending this my way. Bye-bye.